You wouldn't believe how many people ask us every day to do a video on the history of the computer. So here it is. The earliest computers were the ones that people built themselves. I mean, why would you pay thousands of dollars for something that you can build yourself for just a few hundred? Well, not everyone was capable of doing that, but in the 1970s, it was more common than it is today. And there was one kit in particular that stood out from the rest. This was the Solomon kit, created by Gottfried von Neumann in 1971. It wasn't the first personal computer kit, but it was special because it included a keyboard, monitor, and enough computing power to make it useful. Although this thing didn't have a hard drive, so you had to use paper tape or punch cards to save your work. Still, it was groundbreaking at the time, and many of the people who owned one tinkered with its design and ended up building their own companies based around it. One of these people was Steve Wozniak. After buying one of these kits, he found that building it was easy, but actually using it was incredibly complicated. He wanted to make a computer that was easy to use, even for people who knew nothing about computers. His first design, the Apple I, was sold as a kit like the Solomon, but it came with a power supply. His second design, the Apple II, solved the issue of storage by adding a floppy disk drive, which made it much easier to share programs and data. This led to Apple becoming one of the most successful technology companies in the world. But back to the future, in the mid-1980s, computers started to become popular in homes, but they were still very expensive, costing around $2,000 at a minimum. However, this changed when IBM released the IBM Personal System 1 in 1981. It cost only $1,600 and included a monitor, meaning that businesses could outfit their offices with computers without having to spend too much money. But the real breakthrough came with the introduction of the Graphical User Interface, or GUI. Before the Macintosh dropped in '84, navigating computers was a total headache with those text-based interfaces. It really changed the game. Its user-friendly interface made it incredibly popular, but it was also expensive at $2,500. However, this didn't matter because it inspired the creation of Windows. By the late 1980s, many companies were trying to cash in on the personal computer boom, and one of them was Microsoft. They had been developing an operating system for the IBM PC, but now they wanted to create something that could run on lower-powered machines such as laptops. This led to the development of MS-DOS, which was much simpler than the operating system they had developed for IBM. This meant that it took up less space and used fewer resources, making it ideal for smaller devices. Although it lacked a graphical interface, it was popular among hobbyists and computer enthusiasts who liked the fact that it gave them more control over their machines. But in the early 1990s, things were about to change again. The popularity of the Macintosh showed that users preferred a graphical interface, and this led to Microsoft developing Windows. It was initially released in 1985, but wasn't very successful because it didn't have enough features. However, this changed when version 3.0 was released in 1990. It included support for multiple windows, overlapping windows, and the ability to switch between programs using the Alt-Tab key. This made it much more user-friendly and led to its popularity skyrocketing. In the mid-1990s, computers were becoming more powerful than ever before, and this led to the development of the Internet as we know it today. The World Wide Web was invented in 1989, and by the mid-90s it was starting to become popular. This led to the development of web browsers, such as Netscape Navigator and Internet Explorer, which allowed people to easily access the web. This period saw a huge increase in the number of people using computers, and many companies started to focus on making them easier to use. This led to the development of all-in-one machines such as the iMac, which helped to make Apple popular once again. But by the end of the 1990s, the market had become very competitive and companies were trying to differentiate themselves by including more features. This led to the development of smartphones, tablets, and other mobile devices, which made it easier for people to access the internet on the go. These devices were initially quite expensive, but as the years went on, they became cheaper and cheaper. Today, computers are now used by billions of people all around the world, and they're constantly evolving. Just think about the smartphones and tablets that you use every day. They're essentially computers that happen to have a touchscreen and wireless internet built in. But who knows what the future will bring? One day, we might control our devices just by thinking. Sure, it might not happen overnight, but one thing's for sure, computers are only going to get better, more powerful, and super user-friendly. This has been the evolution of the computer. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.